Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin. I am so pleased and excited for the program we have today. Our city commissioner, who is Mr. Chairman now, he is back with us again. He came to us just before the November general election of 2023. Well, he's back now because we got a primary election coming up on Tuesday, April the 23rd. So we want to talk about that. And then when we turn the page a little later on in the program, we'll talk a little bit about our mental health. Mr. Claudio Roman will join us. He's representing on behalf of the Citywide Community Counseling Services. We'll be back with our first guest in just a moment. Be here, Thera Martin, with you on this edition of News You Can Use.
Very much for having me.
Wow.
Good to see you.
It is good to see you, but you didn't say that. You said you can use Rebooted. I'm Thera Martin, and I am glad to be back at LaSalle TV. And we are back with this edition of News You Can Use. And in this first portion of our program, we are dedicating our time to talking about getting registered to vote and voting. There is an elderly woman in my life by the name of Dr. Lucille Ijoy. She's a part of the WURD family, and she always says, do the two-step, do the two-step. You got to register and you got to vote. I'm so glad, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, for being with me again. Omar Sabir, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me. And it was interesting that you mentioned that two steps. Really, it's just one step, because about 93% of eligible Philadelphians are already registered. We're doing a great job with a lot of the automatic voter registration with the PennDOT and the state. So basically, almost everyone is registered. So now you're just gonna take that one step to vote, and it's a lot easier now. You can vote in the comfort of your own home.
What?
In the words of State Representative Derisha Miller Parker, you can vote in your PJs. So come on, people, let's do this.
I know, and I heard her talking about that. In fact, she called in on the radio program I do at WURD this past Saturday, and she said those exact words. It is so important. I'm one of those nosy people. Commissioner, I got to go vote in person because I want to see who all's at the polling place. I want to hug my people. I want to see some of the candidates that might happen to be at the polling place when I go to vote. And then even after I vote at my polling place, well, I have to escort my grandson, make sure he handle your business. I don't trust him to just tell me. He looked me in my eyes and say, Grandma, I'm going to vote. No, I'm taking you to go vote. Same thing with my 23-year-old granddaughter. I still make for sure she goes because I don't want nobody trying to pull my leg and tell me they voted, and then I found out later that they didn't.
Well, that's the key, accountability. And the matriarchs, the patriarchs of the family, you have so much power, and that's the way how voter turnout happens.
Yes.
We could get all of the shiny bells and whistles with the ads and commercials, and which we will do, but ultimately, you know, it's that sort of grassroots, at home, in your face, telling your family to do it, and then assuring that they get out there and they vote.
Yes. Well, I know that as a city commissioner, a big part of your job is doing what you're doing right now, promoting and encouraging people, cajoling people to do the right thing and to exercise their right as a citizen to vote on election day. And you've been doing this for, what, 6 years now or so? How long has it been?
Well,
Seems like you've been in office forever.
Well, I've been in office since I was elected in 2019.
Yeah.
But as you know, we've been doing grassroots organizations with the union and everybody else, for about 20 years. So we're not new to this. And it's just so critical now when all of the people who deny elections, you know, people are coming up with all these crazy things. We saw what the statement that former President Trump just made. He said that if he lost this election, he said it's going to be a bloodbath. And this is ridiculous. And this is just after January 6th. So a lot of the people deny elections, but we want to be clear that our elections are safe, simple, and secure, and they have always been.
And
we're calling on everyone to come on out.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I know that as a city commissioner, you have to be nonpartisan. You are down the middle of the road in terms of you don't tell people you need to vote this way or that way. You're getting out that information. And I, as someone who is a media host and a journalist that writes for a newspaper, I try to behave. I really do, as best I can. But I do notice that you know, some of the big network personality types, they tell what they're supporting and who they're behind. So sometimes I do the same. But I will behave on this program tonight. But we do want people to care and to look at the nation the way it is and what's being said by the different candidates, and then ask yourself, who do I want to lead this country forward? Who do I trust? Who do I think will be the best person? And then vote on your conscience, as they say.
Well, that's one way of looking at voting. But as you know, recently I just visited Selma, Alabama. I go down there, beginning of March. You know, we normally commemorate Bloody Sunday.
Yes.
And what was very interesting is that we sort of saw the people that marched on Bloody Sunday, right? They actually did it. And they honored them and they talked to them. And one of the conversations that I had with them is that they said that they wasn't necessarily voting for a candidate, they were voting for their children to have a voice.
Yes.
And so I think when we look at voting for our children, when we look at getting resources and accountability for our community, that every time that you vote, no matter who you vote for, your neighborhood and your community will win. You're going to get resources and accountability from policymakers.
So now, for people who are not yet registered to vote, and we're at April. By the time this program starts running, will be the end of March, early April. You still got a little bit of time. The deadline to register to vote, if you plan on voting on April the 23rd, primary election day in Pennsylvania, what's that deadline?
April the 8th at 11:59 p.m. You can do it online at vote.phila.gov, vote.phila.gov. It's very simple. It's a very quick process. Literally, it takes about 5 minutes to do it. If you want to change your registration, all those changes, you can apply for your vote by mail. It's very seamless and easy process. If not, if you want a paper registration, feel free to always call 215-686-VOTE, V-O-T-A.
All right, sounds good to me, and we just appreciate you so much. For people who don't want to be like me and are not nosy like me and want to go vote in person on election day, but they want to vote in the luxury of their home, is there a deadline time frame around getting that request out to the government to send me a mail ballot, please?
Sure. So April the 16th at 5 p.m. sharp, right, is when you can apply for your vote by mail ballot.
That's the deadline.
That's the deadline. Again, you can do that online at vote.phila.gov, or you can do it in paper. You could return it to our new satellite location, right? That'll be open. That's right at 4029
celebration.
Market Street.
Okay.
We're going to have 10 satellite locations open all year long, one in each councilmatic district. We have a grand opening on April the 2nd, so we're definitely
Impressive.
happily and excited about that. Or they can always come down to City Hall or Delaware and Spring Garden and apply for their vote by mail and drop their forms off.
Amazing, so very important. In the memory of Mr. Joe Certain from the Buffalo Soldiers and from the famous brother whose statue sits at City Hall.
Oh, the Caddo Initiative.
The
That's my
Caddo
brother.
Initiative.
Let me tell you something. In 2020, Joe Certain, we was at the convention center. I mean, we assembled, it probably been about 100 people. Committee of 70, ACLU, just voting rights advocates, attorneys. Joe Certain saying, hey, we're going to get this done. We brought about 30
I miss him.
young attorneys up from Baltimore.
Yes.
They was protecting people's rights to vote. I mean, it was just was dynamic. That brother would always just call me and say, hey, man, we got to get this done, man.
Your leadership has been dynamic from the time you entered office, not knowing, none of us knew the pandemic was going to hit. And thank God for those that are still standing after the pandemic, that we're here. Thank you, Lord, for that. But you came on board at a tough time in the history of our nation. You persevered through all of that, and you came out as a strong leader in the city commissioner's office. No disrespect to any of your other two colleagues or the one that recently left to go on to another opportunity. You were showing your strength and visibility beyond and above anybody else that I saw in that office. And so I think that's a part of the reason maybe why you are now not just the city commissioner, but chairman of the city commissioners. And congratulations on that.
Thank you, thank you. As you know, Thera, you've been down, full disclosure, Thera, you've been down from day one.
Yep.
Whenever I thought about becoming an elected official, you, Mr. Wimbush, Sam Staton Sr., you all sort of guided me, showed me, the right thing to do. That's the way so all of those invoked all of that energy and all of that strength to do our job. And at the end of the day, we're not going to stop. I mean, we're just getting started.
But youth is a beautiful thing, and you are still amongst the youth world. and I remember when you first got it started, with your campaign, particularly for city commissioner, because you got experience from your campaigns before that when you were running for traffic court judge, so you were polished. And your literature and everything when you were running blew me away. I said, Omar really doesn't need me. He's got it all together. And you did, but it's that youth factor and using social media and using all of the other outlets that are there to tell your message, which I believe helped to carry you into office, and that's why you've been successful thus far.
Hey, listen, we are going to be successful. Again, it's no I in team. I mean, we have great staff. I believe we have the best staff in the country. And it's so hard to find great staff, even inside the election world now, because due to the death threats, due to the constant harassment, I mean, it's hard to find great election workers. And I say the Philadelphia Board of Elections, they're civil service, some are non-civil service. I mean, major shout out to them. I think we have the best staff in the country.
My. I'm going to keep you, your other two colleagues, city commissioners, and all of your outstanding staff in prayer, because that is for real. That's a real message that you're saying, and we don't know what is yet to come with the primary election, and God knows with the November general election. We got to keep you all in prayer and keep you guys safe as well, because you're doing a tremendous job, and you're needed. We need you every day.
Oh, listen, we got Bethel, Commissioner Bethel. We got our sheriff, Rochelle Bilal. I mean, I feel more safe than I've ever been. Got strong leadership in our mayor, Sherelle Parker. We will deliver the best election. It is safe for everyone to come out and vote. They cannot stop us. We can only stop ourselves. So right now we're calling on everyone to step up and vote. If we remember that the more we vote, the more we get, we're going to be all right.
Right now, I thank you again for coming and for this time of year, which is a sacred time of year for our Muslim community, Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem, thank you.
I thank you for coming. We appreciate you, our commissioner, woo-woo, Omar Sabir. And to, again, all his staff, we're wishing them well, and we're going to keep things moving. We've got another guest coming in just a few moments. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate you. All right, this is News You Can Use. I'm your host, Thera Martin. You stay right there, Commissioner. Stay right there. We'll be back in a moment.
Everyone has a community, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. Community members can be your eyes and ears when you're not with your kids and alert you to signs of potential problems.
Hi, I'm Joanna Van Thine, class of 2007, and you're watching LaSalle 56.
It's LaSalle TV.
Oh, right, of course. All right, I'll do it again. Hi, I'm Joanna Van Thine, class of 2007, and you're watching LaSalle 56. You're watching LaSalle 56. Oh, God. Hi, I'm Joanna Van Thine, class of 2007, and you're watching LaSalle 56. Can't do it. Hi, I'm Joanna Van Thine, class of 2007, and you're watching LaSalle 56. Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Joanna Van Thine, class of 2007, and you're watching LaSalle 56.
It's right behind you.
LaSalle 56.
TV.
LaSalle TV 6. LaSalle 56. And you're watching LaSalle 56. LaSalle 56. And you're watching LaSalle 56.
You're old.
Hey! And you're watching LaSalle TV. I did it. I did it. I'm not old.
I drive 65,000 miles each year in my bus. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. You don't want to be in the blind spot of a 40,000-pound bus when I have less than a second to react. I do what I can by changing lanes and taking turns slowly. It really helps when people look out for me too. Give me room to operate safely. It's our roads, it's our safety.
And we continue now with this edition of News You Can Use. So glad to have you with us, and I'm glad to have Mr. Claudio Roman with me, representing on behalf of the Citywide Community Counseling Services. I wanted to get that right.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm so glad I met you through Christina Torres. I appreciate her so very much for bringing you to my attention. Mental health matters. I'm looking at your cap.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what this segment is about.
Absolutely.
We want our viewers to understand that mental health matters, and that if you feel the need to talk to somebody, it's okay.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's about finding an outlet. We all have problems. You can't deny it. So by, the pressures of life, post-COVID, life is completely different. So by people taking action and finding a therapist or going to get that diagnosis or get that evaluation, you could hey, maybe you just might need somebody to talk to. It's not all about medication. It's about having an open source to vent who will give you tools and resources instead of, work and life. We end up taking it out on the wrong people sometimes.
So young people often have stuff on them. I look at my grandson, who's now 18 years old, and when he was 15, by the time he was 15, he had seen 5 of his friends in the neighborhood shot down. I mean, he didn't see them with his own eyes, but he found out, an hour later, 2 hours later. And so I didn't understand right then, at that age when he was 15, what he was really going through. It didn't really sink in. He was going through a crisis of his own.
And unfortunately, was he in private or public school?
Public school.
Public school, they try their best. They bring out a therapist or one for 400 kids.
Yeah, right.
And, we have gone through a lot as generational, gaps. And as, your generation went through things, my generation, these kids in these inner cities are dealing with violence and murder. Rest in peace to the kids who just passed away. What was that, the Northeast High School thing? I know in my heart that they're not being tended to properly. That's gonna traumatize them. That creates PTSD. So when you have younger kids dealing with trauma, you have to, even if we're brought up with, a lot of our other cultures, or we don't talk about our problems, we keep you have to give these kids a chance to have outlets to grieve, to think and process what happened. They opened up the school like 3 days later. You know what I mean? Like you got to go to that same bus stop where you just saw these kids, your friends
I couldn't imagine.
So the fact that you mentioned that, I'm proud to announce that Citywide has been serving people 18 and up for the past 10 years. I just recently got the green light from my provider to start providing services for ages 5 and up. I was doing things with the kids all across the country, pro bono. I know that the youth is the future in my heart. I work with a lot of good entrepreneurs, and our message is we try to be the people that we needed when we were younger. So now we're about to go full force and try to give these kids somebody who looks like them, who's been through what they've been through. Because mental health, you got to be very specific. You need somebody that can relate to you.
Yes.
Even though logic is what it is, when you're talking about your personal issues, you don't want to feel judged. You want to talk to somebody. So I encourage the people to, if you go out for mental health and it doesn't work the first time, go specifically to find another person that meets your standards. It's okay. Never stop searching. Like with health.
Now, a couple of minutes ago, I think I heard you say that one of the 8 victims from the Northeast High School had passed.
You know what? I think if not him, there were multiple shootings. I think
yes,
one person passed away.
Imhotep,
Yes,
there was a student who died there.
And I try to stay away from the social media as much.
It's hard.
But I did see. I know that one person passed away, if I'm not mistaken, from multiple shootings at 2 different locations. But it's a matter of right now. Where are the resources for mental health for the schools?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the topic that I'm here to talk about, mental health. I think that by you mentioning, your family member and you looking at this and you can't help them when you think that something is okay that is not, that's the real problem. Why are us as adults, we might have not had the tools, but it's our job and our duty to give these kids a head start and a fighting chance.
Yes, absolutely. So now for parents who might be watching this, or other caretakers of young people who might be watching this program right now, or maybe it's a young person who's slipping through channels, because mostly young people might not watch a Comcast 56 or a Verizon 36 channel. But if you just happen to catch us, stay there with us for a minute. Because if you need somebody to talk to, you're going through something. You see this gentleman here? He can relate to you and he can help you. So talk to them about how they can connect with you.
Will do. I am big on Instagram. It's my main platform. My friends call me Chico, so my Instagram is Chico the Boss, ChicoDaBoss. My phone numbers, all my information is in my bio. I am proud to say that I put together a team, a multicultural staff, to service different peoples from different walks of life and make everything more personalized. It's not about, cookie cutter things. Mental health should not be cookie cutter. That's my saying.
Right.
We're all different people,
Yes.
so we want to find and hook up our community and anybody searching for those services with the right person. I stress that. It's so important.
Now, during the pandemic, my husband was working for Johns Hopkins University, and he had really great health insurance.
Baltimore.
Yeah,
I'm
and
familiar.
they sent out an email saying that if your spouse can, if you have a spouse or other family members that are having some challenges right now through the pandemic, we have a hotline number they can call and talk to professionals. And so I felt like I needed to talk to somebody. I was like really crazy during the pandemic. And but then I hesitated. It's like I was choking. Like I wanted to call, but I was like, oh, I don't want anybody to know that I need
Can I
to
ask you a
talk to
question?
somebody. Yes.
If you were choking on the bone, would you want somebody to call 911?
yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
anxiety attacks feel like. That's what personal breakdowns feel like. And being human, we adapt. So eventually you mustered up the strength and you
Yep,
got
I
yourself
did.
through that
I
day.
called.
But you know what happens? You internalized it. And now one day it will pop up again. And then what's going to happen is we are so used to coping with things one way.
Yeah.
I challenge you the next time, God forbid you do ever feel like that, to next time you feel like that, you don't got to call that hotline. Take a moment and look for somebody that personalized,
Yes.
look for somebody that fits your need and, get that outlet for yourself.
Exactly.
Because that's what it's all about. It's just, having somebody that could give you tools and resources because, just swallowing it and mustering through the day. That's what we normally do, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
what we're taught.
I pretend.
We soldier
I
on.
pretend everything is all right when everything isn't all right.
And you got to do that for yourself, the person that wakes up every morning to do what you do for the public.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Work on
Makes
yourself.
A lot of sense. Work on myself
Yeah.
all the time.
Invest in yourself.
Mental health matters.
Yes,
I'm going to
ma'am.
keep saying it, and we want people to know how to be in touch with Claudio Roman at the Citywide Community Counseling Services. There's more than one way to be in
for
touch.
sure. Also, if you're looking for the particular service of mental health in many aspects, you can go to our website, citywideccs.org. And we also have an Instagram, Citywide Mental Health. But, I cater to the younger generation very much. My daughter is 18 going on 19. She doesn't like to order pizza over the phone. She does everything online. So if you're shy to call, you can go on the website and you can inquire for an appointment via the website. And, we'll set it. And we also are very unique because I invested in telehealth early. I am a 36-year-old entrepreneur that knew that you cannot make a person go back to a building in the middle of a pandemic. And I told my staff, invested in myself and my team, and we stayed home and we doubled down. And I provided every resource to provide the in-person service from home. And I'm proud to say that we operate hybrid. If you don't want to leave the comfort of your home or if you're working, I make it make sense for whoever needs it. That's what I do. I make mental health make sense for whoever and anybody, anywhere in the world.
Okay, the other piece about this mental health thing is sometimes about health services in general.
Yes, ma'am.
Some of us don't have health insurance. Some of us, we're stealing from Peter to pay Paul. We're just trying to make it. So you talk about mental health, man, I got to just try to sleep this thing off or drink this thing off or whatever it is your weakness might be to calm something down. You think you're calming something down because they're worried about, I don't have the insurance to pay. How expensive is your agency?
You know what? I'll say this. For those who are seeking mental health and don't have the health insurance via private, fund it yourself, if you reach out to Citywide, you let them know your situation, you inquire about pro bono services, but we're not federally funded. We are a 501c3 nonprofit private, which means that if I have the funds, I dictate if I want to provide free service. It doesn't cost me nothing to give somebody an L, give somebody. We are also, we're not an emergency. If you have an emergency, go to your local hospital. If you're having a real life mental health breakdown, you can call the suicide hotline. That's what they'll tell you. So I'm just relaying the message because when you have mental health outpatient, it's to work on things and it's an outlet. But also make sure that if you're having that at home moment and it's too over, you go to that local emergency room. But also, you have to make it make sense for yourself. If you want that outside pro bono mental health service, don't think that I'm going to tell you no. If it's something that we can empathize and feel that you need it right then and there, I am not a corporate structure. I make my decisions, so please reach out.
Okay, and so then you have, I know you already said that you have a multicultural staff. It's awesome and amazing. You got men as well as women. So if a girl, a young lady, a woman calls, and I need to talk to another woman, you got one waiting for her.
Yep.
Okay.
We have it to where I try to have a diverse staff in age. I have younger therapists, older therapists. I have, people who speak multiple languages. We're bilingual. It's about, you could say that you care about it, but how much do you care about it if you're not personalizing it so it can make sense for everybody?
Yes.
If you say that, hey, I have a problem, and I give you a pamphlet and some pills, I just treated you like I would everybody else.
Yeah.
If I ask you about it and I get to know it, then maybe we could put you in a group environment with like-minded people or people going through similar issues, I would say. So it's about, you tell us what the issue is, and we'll see how we can make it, we deal in CBH, which is cognitive-based mental health. There are many forms of mental health. At my agency, we try to get to the root of the issue.
Okay. Oh, can you give me a 60-second message in Espanol for our Spanish-speaking viewers, if you can?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Look at this camera.
Okay.
Right
Yep.
Saludos, mi gente. Me llamo Claudio Roman. La salud mental en nuestra comunidad es algo que no se habla, no se toca el tema. Yo soy el CEO de Citywide Community Counseling Services en Kensington, en la área de Kensington de Filadelfia. Si ustedes tienen cualquier problema, atento a recursos humanitarios, si necesitan servicios sociales, si necesitan algo con la escuela de los niños, atento a anger management, lo que sea, podemos ayudarlo. El número de nosotros es 215-291-9500.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. God bless you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm just
this meant the world to me.
I'm thrilled that Christina again introduced me to you. I'm going to stay connected to you.
Please,
This
anywhere,
is not going to be the
anywhere
last
that
time.
you see that my message, Rob Blendon, feel free to reach out.
Yes,
please.
that's what's up. All righty, and in the waning moment of our program today, we just want to say I certainly believe in the power of prayer, and our city still needs a lot of prayer. We need a lot of hope. I am praying for our Mayor Sherelle Parker all the time, and all of the administration, all of the new leaders elected and appointed for the city of Philadelphia. I'm praying for community leaders, for every single resident of this city. We want Philadelphia to heal. We want Philadelphia to get better. We want to stop waking up in the middle of the night or in the early mornings and seeing these news stories where there's so much death and just negative things going on. There's good things that can happen, that can continue to happen across our country and certainly here in Philadelphia, but we've got to stop the violence. So we will continue to pray on that. I believe in the power of prayer. Thank you so much for joining us, and check us out on WURD as we host a program every Saturday, 7 to 8 a.m. It's called The Electric Magazine, and we host the WWDB on Wednesdays, 8 to 9 a.m., The Inside Scoop. All right, keep on checking out LaSalle TV for great programming. Remember that life is fragile. Handle it with prayer.